with first impressions, it turns out that 55% of a first impression is based on how you look. This is according to Psychology Today. And 38% is based on how you move and sound. And 7% is actually based on what you say. So you can actually reverse a bad first impression, but it takes eight positive interactions to undo or change a fully formed impression someone has made about you. So again, what is it a first impression? So how long does it take to form a first impression? It takes about 7 seconds, so the consensus, to form a first impression about someone, but since then, Princeton researchers have found that people can actually form accurate first impressions about others in 1/10 of a second. So, a glance. Another study out of 2,000 Americans showed that 7 out of 10 people admitted that they formed first impressions about others before they had a chance to speak. So these statistics are not very exciting, are they? We don't actually control that much about how we inherently look. Right? It requires a fair amount of self-acceptance. And we don't get to choose the color of our skin. We don't get to choose the color of our eyes. Even our names are given to us. Our hair is something we all inevitably want to change or at least forcibly control at some point or another. I mean, who styled their hair today? Anyone? I did. So, what can we control about the first impressions that we leave on others? We can control our hair, yes, somewhat. We can control the clothes that we wear. We can control the styles and the colors and the conditioning. We can control how we move, how we carry ourselves, our posture. We can control our breathing, at least somewhat anyway, and we can control our reactions, which is mostly showing up in our voice. In our voice, we can control our 4 Ps. So you're probably wondering what the 4 Ps are. And the 4 Ps are a kind of easy to remember concept by an international vocal coach, Helen von Dallesen. So pitch is the first P. That's how low or how high we're speaking at. We can all have our natural pitch, but we can lower our pitch to convey authority, or use a higher pitch to convey a willingness to comply. Kind of reminds me of that fable about the lion and the mouse. Pace is the second P, the speed with which we're speaking it. I don't know about you, but I'm a really fast talker, and actually when I find other fast talkers, I get really excited because I can sit and cover so much in such a short period of time, and nobody gets offended about interjecting. It's really great, but not everybody's. So the general rule of thumb is to slow down so larger audiences can keep up. Side note about that. General rule of thumb, does anybody know where that came from? It's from ancient Roman times, when gladiators were in the Colosseum and the Caesar wanted to empower the audience by asking if the gladiator should live or die. I just love culture and history. I mean, that's power, isn't it? The third P is power, in case we're wondering. So what is a very powerful voice, right? It's loud and clear, and it's definitely not a voice. So that big, loud, and powerful voice can convey lots of emotions. They can be big and scary emotions like anger, or hostility, or passion, or joy. Go Dodgers! But using a subtle voice can be alluring or because you're like Marilyn Monroe. But it doesn't help it being taken very seriously. And some people might think of it as powerless, to be soft-spoken, or in some cases, secretive. Not very powerful. So the fourth P is for the, that's right, the pause. Yes. The pause is so critical for effective communication to take place. It's that point where the person has a mental moment, a mental minute to just digest the message that's coming at them. Otherwise, they might get bombarded with your words, and it just sort of comes in one ear and out the other, or over the head. Yeah, just that. So that pause is really important. So to conclude, remember the 4 P's: pitch, pace, power, and pause. And keep in mind that it's really just not enough to do your best. You have to take the time and effort to look your best and do your best to be your best self. And then I'd like to ask you all today to reflect and think about what message is it, what impression, a lasting impression, do you want to leave with other people